Y'all, thank y'all for joining us for another episode of Truth Talk. Call it Josh Trailer House.
I've been drinking whiskey tonight. Lost my job, can't pay the light. In the morning I'll be alright. 'Cause I've been drinking whiskey all night. I said,
All right, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Truth, Tall Tales, and Whiskey. Tonight we got a couple of guys from Black Tie Vendetta, which is the band that Brandon Callies, our own, is in. And they're also a part of DFW Whiskey Club, right? You're the guy that runs that?
Yeah, one of the admins, yeah.
Hell yeah. So we're going to talk some shit tonight and get to know some more of Brandon's friends because he keeps bringing cool-ass people in here.
That's right.
So how y'all doing tonight?
Doing well. Thanks for having us, man.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, for sure.
We've already had some fun in here talking shit, so let's see if we can get something that's not going to
get it on
cancel
the
us on
podcast.
camera. All right, so we'll start, I guess, with Black Tie Vendetta. How'd y'all get started, and how'd all that go? Or how was all that going?
So I was in a band called Dustborn. It was a metal band, and we were playing, metal shows at like old school Galaxy Club, Curtain Club, Trees. And I wanted to do some more melodic stuff. And the other guys in the band weren't really keen on that. They really wanted to keep going with the metal stuff. And so the band split up. And I really wanted to keep doing music. And the drummer that we had really wanted to keep doing music. And he also liked the melodic stuff. And so we started just jamming a little bit. And we knew that we've known Brendan Callies for a long time, back then. And we said, let's see if he wants to sing. And it was kind of a touchy thing because he was already in a band. And we didn't want them, they were our friends too. And we didn't want them to get like pissed that we were asking their singer to join our band too.
Did they get pissed?
Yeah.
What band was that?
They did.
If I remember right. Yeah.
What band was that?
Zemo.
Yeah.
And
Are you pissed that he's kind of joined our band?
No, I don't. No, I don't get that.
We have a band?
Yeah.
Invited?
For sure.
But
You're the appendix. We had to remove you.
Fresh out the hospital, and all you're doing is making jokes about my appendix being removed. All right, sorry,
topic of
continue.
the week though.
Yeah, no shit.
So he joined the band, and then we started making a lot of music. Started going through members, and we finally got a set member base, and that was what 2005.
Right around 2005, somewhere around then.
Y'all are going through members, and y'all kept Brandon around?
I know, right?
Crazy.
As ugly as he is,
I know.
It's because he did your cover art, right?
yeah.
I figured.
He was like, "No, keep me in the band."
So tell me
good
more.
for other
I
things,
can draw.
guys.
I can draw. I promise.
Tell me more about what happened when Corey was 3.
So when Corey was 3,
I'm 26, by the way.
I didn't know where to go with that. I was like,
So when Corey was 13.
So we jumped forward and we had a couple more member changes, released some albums, did a bunch of cool stuff, went on some tours, did a bunch of crap. And then we all pretty much grew up and got married and had lives. And it kind of we never really broke up. We just stopped. And Brandon moved to Austin, worst mistake of his life.
Fucker.
And I tried to tell him that before he went, but he wouldn't listen to me. And I told him he'd be back, and he said, "No, I'll never come back." Okay.
Now look at him. He's in a part of a podcast.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like rooted.
Yeah, you're stuck here now. You have obligations.
This is not about Brandon's regrets.
2 marriages.
And that's pretty much like there's a lot of details in there, but that's the pretty much overall arching theme of everything. So
Wait, Brandon, you were married before?
Oh, yeah.
What was his name?
Oh, man. I don't even know how to respond to that.
His name was Pablo.
Bobby Joe.
Pablo. God damn.
That totally
I'm
caught
never
me off.
going to live that down.
That caught me off guard.
That's why he's in love with Paco.
That is Paco,
Yeah, that's
allegedly.
dude. When we
You haven't
did
seen that yet,
when we did Paco Estrada's episode, we were at Sweetwater before, right?
Yeah, it was
That
late.
night, yeah.
We didn't start till about 10:30.
I don't remember a lot of this episode. And I went in my true fashion of fucking up the intros. I called him Pablo. I was like, "Welcome to True Tall Tales Music." We got Pablo Estrada. Just stopped immediately, and everybody died. And I haven't lived it down. I haven't lived it down
We had
since.
Pablo Escobar on the show.
Shit, I forgot what I was about to say. I'm not a very good host.
We know this.
Josh, you're the co-host. Next question.
So going back, obviously, it's been a few years since the height of the Black Tie Vendetta. What would you say was your favorite moment or show that you played with Mr. Brandon Callies?
I would say one of the coolest moments was we were playing a run through Texas with a couple of bands, and we played in Odessa.
I was literally going to say we should count down from 3 and name it at the same time.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that was the one.
So it was the first time it was like, I hear people that are famous say it when they're like, it's weird the first time you ever get recognized or the people go kind of crazy for you or whatever. And we went to play Odessa. We had never been there. And we pull up at like 2 in the afternoon, maybe 3. I don't know.
And the drive-in, the drive-in was terrible. It was the windiest day. Our trailer was blowing off the road.
Those rough-ass roads on the way out.
Dude,
You were in Odessa.
Yeah,
Like,
it was awful. And we're driving
It's
in.
like the armpit of Texas.
I know, man. And
Tumbleweed.
Since y'all said it, we're from the van. Like as we're driving into town, I was like, this looks like a nuclear test site.
You gotta get a front-end alignment when you pull up.
So I'm thinking this is just gonna be the worst thing in the world. So go ahead.
And it was like desolate. And we pull up, we turn around the corner or whatever, we pull into this place, and it was a really cool place. And there's a line of people already lined up around the building, and I was like, holy shit, like, really? Oh, can I say that?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
No, yeah, we say fuck all the time.
You said it way too quiet. Can you please repeat
Say it
that
with your
and say the
chest.
cuss
Holy
words
shit, bro.
later? Yeah.
So we pull up, and there's people all around the building, and we like are geeking out. We roll down the window. We're like, oh, they must be here for the. And they're like, Black Tie Vendetta. Look, there's Brandon. There's Dustin. And I was like, how do they know who we are? Like,
What's
why
going on
do they
right
know
now?
my name? Like, what? And it was just really weird. It was really
Packed
weird.
out, super packed. But then we sort of put together. It's Odessa, and what else
Not a lot
going
going
on in Odessa?
Yeah.
Not a
Yeah,
lot going on.
and so that particular venue, if you remember, is sort of an oasis over there.
Yeah.
Because
That was a nice desert reference. Right?
well, the night, the
Pun
night,
intended.
Was it Dos Amigos?
Dos Amigos.
Yeah.
So the night before, we showed up. Pat Green was playing there, and the night after we were playing, Chevelle was playing there.
Yep.
I remember that and being like, "What is this weird situation that we walked into?" But
It was an awesome venue. The kids were great. The people that were there watching the show were great. Our heads just blew up that night because it was like, it made you feel so good that people, they knew our songs. They were singing them back to us. It was just like, that was an amazing night where you're playing you're on tour. You've been playing for years and years and years and years. And your friends always come watch you play when you play locally. And then sometimes you get like 10 or 15 people when you're out of town. But that was the first show where we have ever had a sold out show and everyone knew our songs and they were singing them back to us. And it was just this energy and it just felt insane. It was like the best feeling ever to have that experience of like, this is what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Yeah. Like that's like what making it feels like.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Yeah, it was awesome.
as a performing artist, shit, that's like the best thing, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And the energy was super high. And
Yeah.
we had really cool experiences there. Like we were on the road with Taproot, and they were a big band in the 2000s. And we did boxing. Like the bass player is a boxer, and so we were back in the back just doing like boxing and stuff. And then there's funny memories with that. And then there was this guy that was the security guard, and he was this short, stocky, like 60-year-old, white hair, real like military looking cut, and country, but cool as hell. Like he was so cool. And he came up to us and he was like, "Hey boys, my name is," and he had this chrome like 357 on his hip.
he looked like he wasn't going to take any shit off of us. So when he walks up to
Right.
us, we're thinking, "Oh man, we're about to get cracked down on."
Yeah. We were like, "Oh hell, here it comes." But he walks up and he's like, "Boys, Anybody come messes with you, you tell them to come see me. Y'all want to smoke some weed, you do it back here. Anybody says anything, you tell them to come see me. Y'all want to do some drinking, you tell them to come see me. You want some girls, y'all come see me. And I was like, this guy's awesome.
He's that fucking dude.
We thought we were getting arrested.
I was like, wow, that came out of nowhere. Like,
I recall.
expecting that.
I recall. I think it was Dos Amigos too. We were out back, and it was the bass player from Taproot, and he was a badass boxer. Like he could lay
Yeah,
people
he was
out.
awesome.
And Matt from Element 80.
Yeah, it wasn't Element 80 then. We were.
No.
It was,
He was touring with Atticane.
It was Atticane.
no, that was Never Set, wasn't it?
No.
No, that was the Atticane
Atticane,
road
yeah,
with
yeah.
Taproot.
So he was like, "I'll box you," and he went. Matt, you know how tall he is, and the bass player from Taproot is tall and has a really long reach and is schooled in boxing, like knows what
a
he's
boxer.
doing.
He's a for real boxer.
And so my recollection of that was Matt getting knocked out for a minute because because he
And they were
kept
just barely. They were just sparring.
well, everybody else kept coming at this bass player like kind of lightly or whatever, but Matt just went at him,
He was like, Matt wanted to take it serious.
And so he told him, he said, "Hey, if you come at me, I'm going to have to counter hard." And so he was like, just didn't listen.
And boy found out.
He did learn. Yeah.
That's a choose your own adventure.
Which was funny because he was still cool about it, but it was like, just two real quick to the face, and he's like, oh.
Yeah.
That's like taking shrooms. It's like it's a choose your own adventure. How hard
Yeah.
you want this to hit you back?
There's absolutely no replacement for getting hit in the face.
Yeah.
As far as a learning experience,
It corrected him quickly.
Yeah.
He was like, "Okay, I'm done. I'm finished."
Which, hey, kudos to him for stepping up and trying to do that.
Yeah, I didn't. I was like, "I'm not going to win
Thing
this."
I learned about boxing is that it is exhausting. Like, oh my gosh, because doing jiu-jitsu and everything else, it's that stuff. You expect that to be exhausting, but boxing, like I didn't ever think. I guess because you're moving the whole time and you're exerting a lot of energy. It is like 2 minutes, and you're like, holy shit, man.
Hey, that's why you hear me say jokes about Corey, jokes about Brandon and Matt. I never say jokes about Martin. Never.
Well, that's the
What are you getting at? Is Martin's the only one here that can kick your ass?
For sure. My son is never going to.
he don't know about that sharp elbow.
I'm not
Dustin.
your son. We've been there. We've been down this road. I'm not your son.
Are you sure?
The funny thing, and I think
You don't make those jokes when my dad comes and sits in.
No, because I like him and I feel sorry for him. I love that dude.
I think it was a little bit strategic on Taproot's part because we were a bunch of idiots and we were boxing before our sets. So
Yeah.
everybody gets on stage all tired and bruised,
Yeah. And they're like,
Yeah.
Just beat the fuck up and play the whole set.
So that's my answer for my favorite show.
We've heard about that show before, actually.
Have you?
Did I tell you about it?
Yeah, y'all told us when what's his name was in here, I think.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan Ray was in here.
Oh yeah. He was in that band.
So
It wasn't as detailed though. Like that was cool. It was just it wasn't near as detailed. That's a cool ass feeling though.
So being as y'all have known Brandon for a really long time, and he's the newest member of
Give us some dirt on him.
True Tall Tales and Whiskey. Where's the Tall Tales at? I need some Brandon Callies Tall Tales. Like, does he deserve his own day in
the
Austin?
legend
Like,
of Brandon
like,
Callies.
Hey, you
Like-
can say whatever you want.
like
Just put
what-
allegedly at the end of the sentence.
What did he do in a dark alley on 6th Street to get his own day?
I think he was just, he was playing 6th Street like 4 nights a week, and everyone knew him. And you know how nice the dude is. I mean, he's just such a nice dude, so everyone loves him.
He's a nice lady.
He doesn't have a crossword with anyone, and I think that it was just like one of those things where someone said something about it probably, and they were like, "Man, he deserves it. He's so nice. Like he's just a nice guy."
Not at all what happened.
And somebody was like, "Yeah, I agree." And what probably happened was like one of his besties was like, "I want to just submit this and see what happens." Or I don't know.
What's the true story, Brandon?
I was doing a bunch of city events just kind of randomly. I got called in to do just random things. So like,
Or you're just out there playing pickleball tournaments? Or
Well-
like what exactly?
4th of July,
Like, what exactly is going on?
I think
Founders
Actually,
Day.
do you play pickleball? You look like you would.
no.
Damn it.
So I had somehow I had gotten into this thing where I started doing. I played at Camp Mabry for like there was like a marathon that happened, and there's this big stage at Mayberry, and you know, it was a big city thing. And then because of that, the mayor asked me to come out, and he was doing a speech at the Austin Convention Center, and I opened acoustic for the mayor at the Austin Convention Center. So it was just kind of like me playing all the time and then doing stuff for the city already. I think that's what kind of...
I like my
Just
explanation.
casually dropping a story about opening acoustic for the mayor of Austin.
3,500 people, man.
This
just by
fucking
myself.
guy.
It was
This
weird.
fucking guy.
That's too cool.
And so Brandon
Felt awkward.
Callies Day is what?
March 26th, yeah.
Oh, a week after we're gonna be there?
I know it, yeah.
Bullshit.
I watched
Hey, we're
that
gonna
video
celebrate
somewhere.
early.
Huh?
We're gonna
Yeah.
celebrate Brandon Callies Day early.
I told him.
So
I told him to take pictures that way he can make it look like he's there that day.
Well, the funny thing is, I don't think the mayor knows I left. So
Damn
we
it.
got to not say nothing.
Yeah.
For our weekend down there, I've already taken off Thursday, Friday, and Monday because I'm staying for the St. Patty's Day parade on 6th Street. I don't know. I may not come back.
I feel like you take off every Monday.
Are we doing a podcast that Monday night?
Probably not.
Probably
Big Joe Walker. We have one scheduled.
Are you
better
fucking
be here.
serious? I'll be back, but I'm not probably not going to be worth the fuck.
Are you ever?
Going back, hey, so going back to the name Black Tie Vendetta, how did that come about? Is that just a cool name y'all picked out, or is it?
It's totally random. I remember very specifically. I was at the mall. I was at Town East Mall with my buddy Jacob Ramji.
We understand now.
And we went up to the food court to get some pizza or whatever. And we were coming down the escalator, and I was actively thinking, I need to come up with a cool name for my new band. Because, you know, Jacob was in my old band, Dustborn, and he had this other band called Callies now, and he was talking about stuff they were doing and everything, and I was thinking about my bands. We were just talking about music stuff, and I was like, I got to come up with a cool name. And on the escalator going down from the food court, I just thought out, like, you know, to myself, Black Tie Vendetta. Because I would think, like, if I was to hear it on the radio or see it on the TV or something, would it sound cool? Like, would it be a cool name to hear? Like, oh, up next, Black Tie Vendetta.
It's mysterious. People are like,
Yeah.
what's that about?
And back then, I had this really, like, grandiose, like, mafia.
Stop slamming
Obsession.
shit on the bar.
And so it was like, I had all this Pulp Fiction, like, stickers and stuff. That was like machine guns and Pulp Fiction silhouettes. And it was like Black Tie Vendetta, you know, this kind of stuff. And yeah, that's how the name came up. It was just totally random. Just thought of it going down the escalator from getting pizza at Town East Mall.
I do remember us saying we need a 3-syllable or a 3-word name because
The phrase names
It's-
back then were really popular.
yeah, so like it's going to be easier to come up with a name that's 3 different words that somebody doesn't already have.
Yeah.
And so I kind of remember that being a topic of conversation
Yeah, because
too.
phrase names they were real big. Like you had A Dozen Furies, and you know you had like bands like that. Those phrase names were real big back then. Every Time I Die, and
Yeah. So, Dustin, man, so you said you were looking to go more of a melodic route. So what was y'all's writing process like as a band? Like, did y'all get together and write, or did you?
usually it was
Write
me and,
stuff
me
and-
and Brandon. We would kind of have riffs in our mind.
Yeah,
We'd just sit there
yeah.
and just jam and come up with a riff, and then we'd get together, and because he can play guitar too, so he would like expand on ideas for the guitar, and then we can both do vocals. And so he would do vocals, and he'd be able to write harmonies for me to do, and it was kind of like that. It was basically all started with riffs because that's all we knew. We were in metal. We were doing
Right.
you know, death metal and metalcore and all that kind of stuff, and we had always written a song, and then the vocalist just kind of overlaid it, kind of like in hip hop where you have a track and then the vocalist comes in and just lays on the track.
Right.
And so it was like that. It was, you know, we're gonna write, you know, verse, chorus, verse, breakdown,
Yeah.
and then you know, that's how we did it in metal, and
Yeah.
it kind of lent itself into this too. But we wanted
Yeah.
to add melody to it,
For
so
sure.
people would sing along, and we were thinking, how can we make some money doing music and still keep our integrity and write music that we like and that we want to play and et cetera.
Yeah.
And we said, let's just add melody to it because people don't, you know, the mainstream, they didn't really want to listen to a bunch of, you know,
Right.
so.
Well, yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, I'm getting into songwriting real heavy right now, and at first I was really stubborn and closed-minded, but now I see how efficient it can be having two people, you know.
Yeah.
Having two sets of eyes on it, bouncing ideas back and forth. So that's really cool to me to hear, you know, y'all's process on that. Do you have did y'all have any influences, like other bands at that time? Or
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, for me, at that specific time, I was listening to Story of the Year, Chevelle, Hoobastank, Incubus.
Oh yeah, dude.
A lot of those
Incubus, one of my
types
favorites.
of bands.
Yeah.
And still a lot of metal bands too. And so, you know, we were listening. I mean, let me think. What are some? I mean, Living Sacrifice, Embodiment. I think some of them. I mean, of course, As I Lie Dying. Before they were called As I Lie Dying, was it Ludacris? Were they called Ludacris?
No, you're thinking about
Ludacris,
Norma
hell
Jean.
yeah.
Norma Jean. Yeah.
Yeah.
As
As I Lie
Dying.
Dying was called something else too. I can't remember what they were called.
I know one song by them actually.
That's how people describe a night with Corey. As Dying.
Motherfucker. No, I do know one song by 94 Hours by As I Lay Dying.
Yeah, that was off their first big release.
Yeah. That's not even like my genre of music, but I know that song. It's crazy.
I remember them. Didn't their singer? Didn't he get into some?
Oh yeah, he got
Yeah,
he
he got
went to
into
jail.
Yeah. I heard he
went
got
to
caught
prison.
up. Yeah.
Hey, what happened?
He tried to hire someone to kill his wife. And
Yeah,
he was an
that's
undercover
what-
agent.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Oh no, there's no allegedly.
No,
He's in prison,
It was
Josh.
definite.
What did
He's
she
incarcerated for like 9
You got to
years.
think, what did she do?
I just want to make a side note real
Yeah.
quick. While we're having that
Devil's
last
advocate here.
I just want to make a side note real quick. While we were having that last conversation, the bass player over here, he mixed rumple with his whiskey.
I did.
He chose violence. He chose
likes
violence.
to-
He's like,
He's now my new favorite person in the room.
He's been around the world twice.
we're going to call him January
My
6th.
wedding, I had cases and cases of beer left over. And this dude was like, "Can I have some of those?" And I was like, "I don't go for it, bro." And there was another time where there was some other wedding or
It
something.
was Josh's wedding.
Was it Josh's wedding?
Yeah.
And he had like a cooler with 90 beers.
There's
and
107 beers and 12 bottles of wine.
Exactly
Remembers every
107.
one of them.
Hold on. So when my buddy Josh was my roommate, and when him and his wife got back from Europe for 2 weeks, I had specifically left them one bottle of wine and a 6-pack of beer. And he goes, "What did you do the whole time we were gone?" I was like, "I drank everything in that cooler."
This guy
That was old
fucks.
Andrew. Andrew back then had a problem. But
Yeah, I had a problem.
Well, this is a good way to segue into. So I guess since
We're
we're,
just
sort
gonna
of, we're
skip
making
his-
we're making the rounds, you know, introducing Andrew into the band.
for sure.
Are we going to forgive him for the Raiders
Yeah.
hat? Or are we
The
just,
newest
going
member
to
of Black Tie
ignore the
Vendetta.
Raiders hat?
Yeah,
Did his channel is Enter Easy E. Calm down.
Dude, don't hate on E.
Oh, I love you.
Okay,
Come on
like,
now.
NWA is my thing. Like
That's his identity, bro.
Listen,
I like
Metallica are Raiders fans too, man.
that's
Yeah.
like.
You said
Can
that.
you go
in qu-
wrong with this? I'm disappointed it says Las Vegas. To be honest, it should say Oakland. But,
Absolutely.
yeah, Culture Kings didn't have it, so
Well, I'll let somebody over here
So
say
Andrew,
how we got Andrew into
What's
this.
funny is whenever we started Black Tie Vendetta, we were originally rehearsing in our old drummer's house, Chris Chapman. He was like, "Yeah, dude, let's just practice in my house." Which, man, thanks to that guy, because we didn't have anywhere. We couldn't afford anywhere else, so we just set up in his living room and jammed out. And his wife was very patient with us, just blaring music in the living room.
She's just sitting there like patiently, like, hell yeah.
She locked herself in the bedroom. Was like,
Oh, shit,
hate these
okay.
guys." And so,
He said he couldn't afford it. This is one of them, the lead singer took all the money stories.
yeah, still does. Still does. I haven't seen a penny in like years. No.
He's over here denying but not saying anything.
No.
So in his other band, Zemo, that I kind of stole him from.
It's
the-
like a
the
knockoff of
guitarist-
Zemo, the old drink. from
Don't
the
brag
90s.
about stealing
I
him.
know.
He's not very heavy.
No,
That's
no.
what everybody says.
The guitarist, his dad was a doctor in Greenville, and they had a storage unit that held a bunch of like patient records, because you had to keep so many years worth of patient records, and there was just this area in that storage unit that was like all the boxes were taped up and there was black sheet over it, and it was like "do not enter" kind of thing. It's like, you do not enter this area, you don't touch any of this, yada yada yada. But there was all this open space that was just sitting empty, and so they started using it as a rehearsal space in Zemo. And then I was like, hey, let's see if they'll let us rehearse there. And then it ended up being Black Tie Vendetta. Zemo, shortly after that, kind of fell off. And then his old band, System Overload, was rehearsing out there. And so we shared a rehearsal space. And back then, we had a couch in the middle of the room that was like the divider. It was like, you do not come over here, and we will not go over there. That's the divider. This is the country wall. Like, this is the wall. Don't do it.
Corey has this talk with every friend he lays next to.
Yeah.
This motherfucker. I feel like y'all probably shouldn't publicly say that y'all had this many bands practicing in a room with that many confidential files.
Oh, it was. I mean, we didn't ever look at them. So
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly. But so Andrew was always very responsible. He's always been.
The guy that just put
Call
rump on his
him,
whiskey was really responsible.
Oh yeah, don't let him fool you. He's a band dad.
It's all about a balance, man.
That sounds like when I tell my girlfriend, like, Corey's got me tonight. He'll watch me.
Hey, that's the worst thing you could ever tell a girlfriend is Corey's got me.
I tried it. It did not work. It did not work. She was like, is Martin going to be there?
That's what's crazy. He's like, I can't believe I'm the responsible one.
I know. I'm used to being the responsible one. I like that Martin's beating me out here.
Martin is a responsible one until you Google over a name.
You told your girlfriend I was in charge and she was okay with that?
I mean, I wasn't being serious, and she didn't take me very serious.
So,
Anyway, sorry.
Andrew's in System Overload. We're in Black Tie Vendetta. There was also another band, Melba Toast, that would rehearse there like once a month. And there was another band called Ronald's Ray Gun that would
Hell yeah.
practice there like once a year.
Just come in and use our stuff.
Yeah.
It was- yeah.
But so the only bands that were consistently doing anything were Black Tie Vendetta and System Overload.
I like how you were just
And-
casually dropping System Overload like they didn't have a few songs that did fucking numbers.
Oh, they did great. Yeah, it was awesome. And Andrew was always very responsible, very respectful, and he managed the crew. But back then, you had a lot of like really young, really just, I'll use ignorant in the true sense of the word, just ignorant in general to things. And so I would get very angry because like I would go out there and I would have, I walked in one time and I had a PRS and I had saved up for this PRS. And I don't know if anyone knows what a PRS is. It's a really expensive guitar.
That's probably before my time.
And yeah, I'm an old man. And so I saved up and bought this PRS. And I walk in one day out there, they're rehearsing. And there was my PRS in the case was being used to prop up PA speakers. And I was like,
Okay, that's understandable.
Yeah.
I walked over and I didn't say anything. I just walked over and I was literally standing like this close to it. And I was just looking at it and they all stopped and they were just looking at me. I said, someone please take this speaker off my guitar. And Andrew came over.
Before I lose
No.
my shit.
I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, and Dustin forgets. He picked the speaker up, and everybody stopped. And he said, somebody could come get this speaker out of my hand before I throw it on the ground. That's exactly what you said.
You told a nice story.
I've been-
Allegedly.
sometimes. But and then another time we had a show, and System Overload had a show. We show up to do our loadout to where we can get all our gear, and get it ready to go to the club. And we're loading up Chris's drums, and the snare's missing. We're like, "Where's the snare? Like, what? Like, did we leave it? Like, we rehearsed this week. Like, what? No. Like, wait,
He had it.
what is
didn't he?
going on?" Call Andrew. Hey, can you ask Corey? That was our drummer. Can you ask Corey if he has our snare? And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Just ask him." Calls Corey. Calls me back. Bro, I'm so sorry. Like, Corey borrowed it. And I was like, bro, like,
Fucking Corey's, man.
Corey's
So-
always do
yeah.
some
Those
questionable ass shit.
So we invited Andrew to be in our band.
yeah. So we loved him so much.
Hey, it's better than
I
Corey.
was away from System Overload.
Obviously, I've not done him well. He's mixing whiskey with rumple right now. Y'all have not been good to him.
He's the Corey of the
No,
band.
that's just how badass he is. Yeah.
So what
I
kind of
had a drinking problem.
So speaking of how badass
Had-
you are, you play with a few other bands.
I do.
Can we give them a shout out while we're here?
My main project's a band named Light the Fire. We've toured the U.S. and still going strong. We're about to head to L.A. and record with Bo Burchell from Seosin. If y'all are,
That's
yeah,
awesome, man.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyway, but as you've heard, I go way back with both these guys, and I got the call like, "Hey, would you want to play bass with us?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So,
Regretted it ever since.
well, no, not at all.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
The great thing is, it's been nothing but good shows.
Yeah,
we have not
Brandon
played a
and I
bad
were
one.
like, just him and I, and it was like, can you believe like how refreshing and awesome it is to have Andrew in the band, and he's good. Like, it's like back in the day, it was like
I was not
his
good.
tone was just like,
It was terrible. Yeah, it was awful.
and I remember trying to like talk to him and be like, bro, like turn your mids and your highs up a little bit and turn it down. And he was like, no, man. Like,
He's like, no, fuck
I
you.
remember going and watching them. I remember going to hang out and watch System Overload play, and they had this little bitty space on the side of this. There was a business in Greenville called Office Solutions, and they leased this little like little bitty
Room.
tiny
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
And you know how when you sit in, like, have you ever been like at one of those competitions where it's like a bass competition where the guys have speakers in
Yeah,
their
yeah.
cars,
That's
and you sit in the car and your eyeballs rattle and you can't
Yeah.
see? That's what it was like. 'Cause his bass was that loud.
Wall of sound. Wall of
He's like-
sound.
He's taking pride in that right now because like
For sure.
that was
Not at
Oh
all. Like what's hilarious is like I'm the biggest tone snob of all time at this point.
nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got it locked down though. I'm telling you.
I get embarrassed, and the reason I'll sit there and just stress over my bass sound, and then when Andrew shows up, I always am like, it sounds a little off tonight
Help me.
because his is the best bass tone I've ever heard.
Well,
Yeah, that's
thank
awesome.
you. But like it's I'm a long ways away from the System Overload days.
Yeah.
You almost knocked that mic
Yeah,
stand
I
over.
know. Yeah, it's the Rumple mixed with the whiskey.
That was you that did. I just wanted you to take a swig.
I remember my first podcast.
You emptied the bottle into
you
your
know
whiskey
what?
glass.
Hey, you know what? Don't offer me that.
Yeah, on a Monday.
Yeah.
Go hard or go home.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
speaking of
so
It's been
whiskey,
a long Monday, okay? God.
So-
Yeah,
oh yeah.
Judging
so,
me.
so
Hey, well, this is a
Let's
good. This is a
go
good
back
turning
there.
point.
I
So
wanna-
we've gotten like
yeah,
way
hold
off.
on. I got this.
Shut up, Josh.
No, hold on. I got this. So I've told the truth about Corey. We've told a few tall tales about Brandon.
We haven't really told any tall tales about him.
Let's talk about the whiskey.
Allegedly.
Let's talk about the whiskey.
The whiskey club.
DFW
Yes, sir.
Whiskey Club.
So DFW Whiskey Club. So DFW Whiskey Club is a group of whiskey enthusiasts that, it's guys and girls. It's beginners. It's OGs that have been in it forever. It's a group for everyone, and it's primarily everything that takes place on Facebook. It's a Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group, but we have get-togethers and bottle shares and big events, and people come together and do all kinds of cool stuff. But we do a lot of charity work. We do a lot of stuff for, Cook Children's Hospital. We've done stuff for St. Jude. We've done stuff for just local families. And basically that all is, centered around whiskey in some way. And we raise money using whiskey to fund all of these things. We do barrel picks. We'll basically sample whiskey, barrels of whiskey and pick which one we like the best, and then bring that to the members, and they buy the bottles. And sometimes we'll raise the price of the bottle and use the extra money to pay for charities and stuff. And it's just a really cool thing. We do a lot of really good things, and educating people on whiskey and helping people with whiskey, finding bottles and stuff. So it's just a really close, fun community. It's really, really cool thing.
So are these kid-friendly events?
Yes, they actually are. Yeah, most of them. So there are some that you probably wouldn't want to bring your kids to, but like we have a big event every year called the Sick Invite, and
You showed to cook children, feed sick kids whiskey.
basically
Corey has never felt more welcome.
we just have. So
I'm getting mad back here because
back in
Josh
the
just like
day, it
slapped me
started-
on my side a few times, like right on my incision. I'm getting fucking pissed over here.
So back in the day, it started where someone would post a picture of hanging out with a bunch of people from the whiskey club, and then somebody else would comment and be like, "Oh, sick invite, bro! Like, I didn't even get the invite."
Yeah.
Hashtag sick invite. And so we created an annual event called hashtag sick invite, and it was like the running joke thing. But everyone would show up. We'd have like music and food, cigars, games, whiskey, raffles, whatever it was. There's this big thing. It was always really fun. And people would bring their kids, people bring their dogs. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a lot of fun.
Well,
that's
describe
awesome.
describe the barrel pick process, because that's kind of a big component to DFW Whiskey Club.
So some of the most unique whiskeys that you can get are single barrel whiskeys, because every barrel is going to age differently. It's going to taste different from one barrel to the next. They don't all taste the exact same. So the barrel pick process is, if you're lucky enough, which we've been very fortunate to be able to do this a lot, you fly out to Kentucky and you go to some of your favorite distilleries and you go into the warehouse and you have what's called a whiskey thief. It's just this long copper tube. You find you a barrel, you thief out some whiskey and you taste it and you're like, oh, I like that one. You mark it so you know which one you like, and then you go to another one and you thief out some more whiskey and you're like, oh, I like that one better. Mark that one. You can go to another one like, oh, that one's not as good, or that's making a long story short. But so you get to taste through all these barrels, and then when you find one that you really love, you say, okay, that's the one we want. You label it, put your name on it, and they get it to you in your state, and then you get to have the bottles from that barrel, and we release them exclusively to our members in the Whiskey Club. So only the people in Whiskey Club are able to access that barrel. So it's truly like some of the most rare, hard to get whiskeys that you'll ever find, because there's so few of them. A barrel usually yields around 200 bottles. A lot of times it's less than that. So it's truly some of the most rare whiskey that you'll ever find.
Yeah, I've stood in line with Dustin before and have not got my own bottle. So
That's
that
actually
tells
cool
me
as shit.
people
That's
are
really
lined
cool
up.
that y'all are able to
My
do
mouth
that.
is water.
People line up. They line up around the block to go to these, to get these barrel picks.
I was talking shit a minute ago about him putting rumble on that whiskey, but that's actually really fucking good.
Told you.
Try it.
So
I don't know if I like it.
Try it.
If there's any therapists out there, Corey needs one.
Toothpaste.
No, try it. Just taste it.
he's like, no thanks. Mint whiskey.
Look at him. It's against every.
No, it's kind of actually really good.
I'm gonna have to write a song called "Daddy Truck."
Look.
Look,
That tastes like those little red and white peppermints.
Yes.
It's big red, like the
Yeah.
gum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
He handed it to me. I was like, no, don't put that anywhere near me. And then I finally gave in and I tried it, and it's really fucking good.
I feel like we're trying to justify a mistake that.
No.
happened here.
Give me the glass. Give me the glass.
I mean, that is some 13-year-old MGP whiskey, so it's like
Brandon.
good.
It was all. it
Hey
was
Dustin,
almost
who's the
out.
guy? Who's the guy on DFW Whiskey that
No,
always?
what?
He's always trolling people, and he's taking good bourbon and he's mixing it with like eggnog. That's his thing.
Oh no, watch Brandon.
It's Dom,
Take it.
dude.
Everybody, watch his face. Watch his face.
No, that's not good. It's just Rumple. The
Shut the
Rumple
fuck up.
overtakes
That
it.
was really good.
Now you get the caramel notes mixed with.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth. No,
Yes.
you don't.
I
It's
swear to
actually
God.
pretty good.
It's a
Yeah.
cinnamon apple strudel.
This tastes like
All that tastes is
this
rumble.
tastes like
Really?
fifth grade to me.
Y'all are-
This is what we did. It's like a suicide. You know, the
Right.
suicide
Yeah,
Drink-
right.
Finish
kamikaze.
it. Finish it.
Fucking kids.
kamikaze.
So this guy in
Fucking
Whiskey Club,
kids.
I'm sure everybody's heard of Blanton's. That's like a really big.
Yeah.
That's a really big bottle for people that are just getting into whiskey collecting seriously. That Blanton's is their first like unicorn bottle, and so he started taking Blanton's and mixing it with it was eggnog. I mean, he would make eggnog out of it, and it was funny because he would just be like, "Oh yeah, watch this," and he'd pour Blanton's and mix it and drink it, and then he went up to a higher caliber of bottle, mix it, and he would always use his finger. He would just be like, and and then he'd drink it. And then he started mixing like Pappy Van Winkle, drinking it. And there's a bottle called Michter's 20. Do that, and that's a really expensive bottle. He'd mix it up, drink it, and it was hilarious. And there's a guy over in Nashville, JB. He has a JB's whiskey house, and it's a charitable thing as well. He noticed this stuff going on, and he started posting it on his page, on his Facebook group. It's a private group, talking about Dom, and they created this friendship. It was just a really cool thing that Dom's videos were going nationwide for being like the eggnog guy that was mixing crazy
He's
whiskey,
trolling people.
just trolling people, being like, "Oh yeah, you got Blanton's? Look at this." Poured it and poured eggnog over it and drank it. It's like
And people just mad as shit
it
in the
was
comments.
hilarious, man. It was so It
So
was hilarious.
let's just ask. You're at home alone, upset. Brandon Callies won't answer his phone. What kind of whiskey are you drinking?
Stitzel Weller. It is old school. You can't really get it unless you're buying Dusty bottles. You can't get it. I mean, it's the distillery's reopened now, but it's not the same. It's different. But it was the stuff that I like is from like the 40s through the 80s. It's super old stuff. It's very caramel, toffee heavy, delicious whiskey, but it's also very expensive. So you can buy it on secondary, but it's just super expensive. So you can't drink it all the time because you'd go broke. But that's probably one of my favorite whiskeys.
The way he worded that, just so you know, when you don't answer his phone calls, he's losing
Yeah.
a lot of money.
This motherfucker's going broke because
what
he
it
gonna-
takes to take the pain
one
away,
missed-
Brandon.
One mixed text and he.
I'm gonna keep it going.
It's universal.
Yeah.
What he does,
Dustin Morrison
he waits and
denied.
okay, 7 of his calls,
Do not disturb.
and 5 of his texts. So he probably has a bottle open. I'm gonna head over there, and then I'll be like, I'll answer eventually, and I'll be like, I'm right here, just right here.
Don't
Guys,
give
I'm
away
in
my
your
secrets.
driveway. I'm in your driveway.
Don't give away my secrets, Dustin.
Brandon's a calculated genius.
Listen,
That's what y'all don't
that's how I live
understand.
my life.
Yeah. He waits
He's got
till
like the nicest eyes ever, but there's
$2,500
something
bottle of
behind
whiskey
it.
gets like opened. And
Yeah, of
he's
course.
like, okay, I'm gonna head over there.
Yeah, I can smell it down the street.
That's
I'm
a
gonna
tall
taste
tale.
wealth.
So that's a tall tale / true tale about Brandon back in the day. We'd have rehearsal when we were out there in the storage unit, and every time we had rehearsal, we'd go to Applebee's afterwards.
I was broke.
Hell
We're
yeah.
all broke.
Dollar
All broke.
PBRs? Come on now.
It was dollar, pretty much. So dollar margaritas,
Oh, yeah.
dollar.
Hell yeah.
I used to work at Applebee's. I know all their
It was
specials.
like-
Let's get it.
What was it? After 10 or 9 or 10, it was like half off appetizers. Like,
Mhm.
Come on, bro. So we would go and I would order this. What was it? It was a.
It was a wrap. You would order a wrap, and it had steak, and then it was a specialty. So you would do the steak, the rice, and double up on the queso. And that was it.
Hold on. I got like.
He was friends with the cooks.
You're telling me you landed your lead singer on the 2 for $20?
Yeah. No, it wasn't even that. It was my leftovers. So I would eat and I would get.
Damn! Wait,
Listen, we would go there with the whole band, and I was broke, man.
He ate his side salad.
Hey, I'm not gonna say I haven't been there.
Hey, look
Not
at
just
him.
his, not just his.
Is that why he's so small?
Look at him.
He's malnourished.
Y'all gotta treat him better.
I'm not
ain't going back.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
not going
vegetarian. I'm
Yeah,
so
hey,
broke.
y'all gotta feed this guy, okay?
Eat a cheeseburger, bro.
We can't afford it. He's dependent on y'all.
I knew I was part of the. I knew I was part of the podcast when one day Corey said Brandon turned sideways and I can't see him anymore. The first shit you ever gave me.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. So
that was probably drunk Corey because I don't remember saying that.
so he would eat my leftovers, French fries, and he would like soup up the queso that had been all up in my mouth and like, you know, and just tear it up. And
Look, there's more
every
Callies
time he'd
dirt.
be like, oh, I'm gonna hit that. And I'm like, go ahead, Brandon. Here, eat some.
Yeah, but like allegedly, and
Sounds
but
like-
also allegedly halfway through, like when he was like
Alleged.
still eating, I'd be like, "Are you gonna eat all that?" Allegedly,
Every time. Are you hungry, bro? He's like,
no. But are you gonna eat all that?
yeah.
He's making it sound humble. It was really like prison style. He's like, "You gonna eat that?" And he took his tray.
Give me that. Like, oh, yeah. It was fun. It was good times. We were all broke back then. Actually, I had been through so much crap. I was like peak money, and then living in that storage unit where we were rehearsing. So I went from owning 3 houses and multiple cars and living in Vegas to literally living in a storage unit and not having a vehicle. And he was picking me up every day, and I was working at Hastings for minimum wage.
Well, you had a fat ass bank account.
I did. And I put all the money into a club.
DFW Whiskey Club.
We had a venue.
What was the club?
It was called Red Velvet Room. And the owner of the building, like I put most of the money into the sound, and it sounded great. I should have done some more money on the looks of it, but it was getting by and it was making money. The owner of the building that I was leasing saw that it was making money. And he
Fucked
was
you.
like, I'm not going to renew your lease. It's, I don't want this kind of thing going on here. And we were like,
Looking back,
I
you
never
should
even
just
thought.
So-
I never thought about what if he doesn't renew my lease.
punched him in the face.
Well,
Well, that or I should have bought the building.
so he shut it down and he opened up his own venue.
Yeah.
And it
But the
tanked.
thing
Did
is,
it tank?
no, it didn't.
Fuck.
It thrived for a while, but you are all going to recognize it because now Randall Council owns it, and that's
Oh shit.
so that was we started that as a venue.
No shit.
No shit.
Yep.
Been there
Small
many a time.
world.
Many a time.
It turned into
Hey.
Stonewall Music Hall
So-
and is now Randall Council's House of Fun. Whatever.
Hell
I don't know what he
yeah.
calls it.
That's fucking crazy. Small
Cool
world.
place to go
So
visit.
that was the building System Overload rented from you for the rehearsal spot for a while,
Walk
right?
over there with him and CG Cruz
Yeah.
a while back.
Yeah, shout out Randall and CG, man.
To be fair, Randall's a cool fucking dude. He probably knows nothing about.
I told him so
That-
that velvet curtain, and I told him, me and Dustin got a big that velvet curtain that's in there. We bought that in Vegas. And-
fire rated, like you specifically had to have that to meet code.
Right.
And so I found one and it was in Vegas and I was like, hey Brandon, let's go to Vegas and
So we got this big giant velvet curtain. I told Randall, I was like, we bought that in Vegas, and you could tell he's just like, huh. It just
Yeah. Didn't think anything of
it
it.
was lost on him. Yeah.
basically what happened was I didn't pay the last month's rent and then something happened where the air conditioner something messed up on the air conditioner. I don't know what it was, but the owner of the building wanted me to pay for it. And I was like, no, like you're not renewing. No, I'm not paying for anything. I'm done. And so he locked me out and I lost all the stuff that I had there. I had the curtain, I had a bass cabinet, I had some like artwork stuff. I mean, it was like not a whole lot, but it was enough just to be like, man,
That's a kick in the
Yeah,
teeth.
yeah.
If it's any consolation, it's a cool ass dude that owns it now.
that's cool. I'm glad. Yeah. So yeah, small world.
Fucking A.
Do what you do.
All right.
Just
So
remember the hinges are weaker than the deadbolt.
Yeah.
this
Go
fuck.
get your shit.
He hasn't said anything the entire podcast.
I like that. That's some mafia stuff. That
For real. Watch out, Randall.
Dude.
Watch out, Randall.
Martin,
Now that we
Martin
covered
worries
the
me
vendetta
sometimes.
part of this,
Martin worries me sometimes.
Allegedly.
Most time you can just take a chainsaw and go, "Grr," and you're getting like
His shirt says choke a fool. Just saying.
Yeah.
No, dude, Martin's a fucking badass. Anyways,
My therapy office.
all right. Before I get handed more Rumple infused whiskey, we're gonna close this out. It's been a great time with y'all tonight.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, man.
Awesome.
Brandon, I don't know how you are the way you are and know so many cool people, but it's kind of cool.
I think so.
I mean, kind of.
well, let's let him shout out his whiskey club one more time.
We already talked about it. Stupid. Okay, go ahead, shout it out.
Hey, DFW Whiskey Club. It's on Facebook. You can look us up. Ask to join. You'll answer some questions and you'll be in the queue. It's a really cool club. And if Black Tie Vendetta plays again, which we probably will, come out to a Black Tie Vendetta show and hang out.
We got a song coming out March 15th, by the way. The song that we played today is coming out March 15th.
Actually, something y'all didn't talk about. Y'all dropped a song like a year and a couple months ago.
Yeah,
Two.
did we?
We did Horizon Ties and then we did Lions and Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lions and Wolves was January 2023. Y'all didn't even talk about that.
Well, yeah.
That was a great song, by the way.
Yeah, I
Great.
was literally jamming on the way up here.
It's a heavy one.
It's good.
It's pretty fun.
That's tough.
We got another one coming up. We have several more songs to release.
Yeah.
I'm really slow and
We're slow boating it.
procrastinate and
Yeah.
I mix and so I record it and mix it and master it. And
Oh, right on.
these guys are very persistent. Like, are we going to do this week? I'm like, we're going to do this week. I'm like,
Well, and now Brandon's got a bunch of dumbass dudes that recruited for a podcast, so he's probably not.
no. It's just I can show you the text messages the other day. Like, can we schedule the recording for There Will Be Blood? I'm like, yeah, we just need to schedule it.
Brennan says he's busy
And
and
they're
he's
like,
in the
"That's what we
woods
just
with a
said."
bunch of guys.
Anyways, we're getting sidetracked here again. So,
Yeah, no. This has been a really fun interview, though.
for sure.
Yeah.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Truth, Tall Tales, and Whiskey.